Hi, my name is Flores, and I want to take the time to show you a track that I created using the We Sound Human pack, Surf. The track is titled Take It All, and it was actually used on the Far Cry 4 trailer. So I'll go ahead and play it through, let you listen through it, then I'll go back and explain a little bit how I used the files. Okay, going into this project, I had a good idea of what elements I was going to need. I got to listen to a bit of the Far Cry 4 soundtrack or some music that was used in the gameplay, so I really had a good palette in mind. At the time, I was in a studio that the time allowed to get this done. I didn't have the access to have the guitar sounds and the guitar that I needed. And so I was really just kind of thinking quick, and I did a search, and I was already familiar with We Sound Human. They were going through a different name at the time, but I found a pack called Surf. It had the actual audio files plus the Kontakt. So the minute I listened to it, I knew that it was exactly what I needed. So I purchased it. So with that said, I came in and I started off with the break beat. From that, I started listening to the pack, and immediately I ran into one of the sounds, and the guitar was exactly what I had in mind as far as like the sound palette of it. So I took that, and I don't believe I tweaked it much as far as just the tempo and the key that it was in, but what was there, I know I'd messed with it a few times, but I always went back to the original and thought, you know what, I'm this far in and I love what's there. So I'll be able to put my spin on it on everything outside around it. So I went ahead and just probably took what was there. So being that I'm doing this video, it was okay. No, but I think I was really inspired by what I heard. So it worked perfectly well with the breakbeat. So I added some bass to that. Underneath that, I added some drone guitars. And just a quick note, I found this project through an archive, so I don't have all the exact MIDI patches that I used, but I did render it into Wave, so I do have the audio here. So in some of these, you'll just see the MIDI notes. Like this one actually is some guitar, strums, and whatnot. Had some organ doing some kind of just staccato notes just to kind of help the melody out. Which you won't really even be able to hear on its own. I mean, with everything else, it just support. So that was pretty much my beginning section. Then I needed something to kind of go into this chorus section. So this little transition here. For this, I know I remember finding some kind of MIDI, I believe it was Etho World or something that had different types of vocals. So I took this and I created that bit that you heard there. Just kind of some textures, ear candy, if you will. So which led me into this chorus part. On this part, I took the main riff and I actually found another guitar that I added to support that, to kind of give it that bigger feel. Let's hear that in adding the guitar, percussion. I know that I didn't bring in some ethnic type percussion on this type of percussion. Let's see. And I added, I remember some of these claps I did for a different session. I actually recorded my hands doing some claps, so it fit perfectly well with the percussion. So with that, I added some, let's see, some more of this drone guitar in there, but let's just hear the guitar section by itself. And the bass. So I repeated that. On this next section, I found some chords, chord stabs. Let me see, chord stabs. Added some effects to them, dirtied them up some. Some more support guitars. And I know for the main riff, I added like an octave up higher harmony type. So let's go and hear all that section as far as the guitars that came from Surf. Okay, let's just hear that with everything. So as you can tell, that is pretty much the nature of the track. I went back into like this verse type section. On this one, I know I found another type riff, but this one had a little more strums to it. It just had that choppiness I was looking for. Kept those ethnic drums in. Okay, which led me to this section going into where the out part where I'll actually repeat the chorus again. Let's see. Have a breakdown. On this section, I remember using, I believe it was East-West Raw or something that I used the MIDI, then I actually rendered into audio. But this was a working version. This wasn't the final version, so I didn't actually do any cleanups or chops, making it sound more like it was a vinyl of some, not like a sample. So let's just hear the end of that here. And it'll go into this transition, which will lead me back into basically my chorus again. So it pretty much repeats that until the very end. Then I go into an outro, which I lightened up the load, took a lot of things out, and done. So they used bits and pieces of this track throughout the trailer. Again, it was a Far Cry 4 Hurk limited edition. This was my usage of Surf from We Sound Human, and off the bat, it was inspirational just listening to it on its own. Highly recommend this pack. You could find me on Instagram at Gilflow Productions, guiltyflores.com. Above all, I appreciate your time. Really happy to do this for We Sound Human. Always looking out for what they have coming out next. All the best to you.